Hello everyone, thanks for joining MeteoMark's Weather. I'm meteorologist Mark Molnar, and we're going to be starting off here with the tropics. We're going to look at all these tropical waves out here, see if there's any chance of development here. We're also going to be looking at tropical moisture surge across the Gulf, Caribbean, and the U.S. East Coast as well. And this MDR out here into the Atlantic could become extremely robust, especially after the 20th and 21st. Some of these waves could stand a chance of development. We'll also take a look at the dust situation out here, see if that's going to preclude any development. And we'll be looking at all the chances of severe weather from the Midwest into parts of the Ohio Valley and eventually the Northeast, as we could see some mesoscale convective complexes with stronger thunderstorms. And I'll also get in to see if the heat wave's going to break anytime soon and where that could be. Let's get into it. So as we start off here with the European model, and I'll progress towards the GFS, you can see we're starting off here later on July 14th here in the afternoon or early evening. So what we have going on here, you can see out here by the Cape Verde Islands, we have quite a few in the wave action out here, as well as here into parts of the Eastern Gulf and Northwestern Caribbean here. There's our big area of Bermuda high pressure here that's going to continue to steer these storms into the Caribbean and the Gulf and off the East Coast as well. So as we continue in time here, you can see what's going on as we head throughout Monday morning, July 15th. We have quite a bit in the way of tropical wave activity here, just lining up, even off way out here, even into Africa. We're just lining up these tropical waves, and you can see the moisture just surging northward here across the southeastern part of the U.S. Now, let's just zoom in here a little bit. I can show you as we go out here in time. Look at this. We even have waves pivoting towards Puerto Rico, parts of the Dominican Republic as we head through midweek here. Here's the intertropical convergence zone really continuing to remain active. Lots of moisture bottled up here across the Lesser Antilles and off the southeast coast here, Central America. We're continuing with those heavy rains, and that tropical moisture just continues. The high pressure continues to remain pretty well just east of Bermuda, just maybe wobbling a little bit further to the east here. But look what starts to fill in. These waves are just lining up, and here's one south of Jamaica by the 18th here at 2 a.m. So as we continue to go out here in time, you can see what's happening. These waves continue to cause problems here across the Caribbean. Thankfully, none of these look like they're going to develop here into the short term. There's that tropical moisture bottled up from the Gulf Coast regions all the way up into parts of the Mid-Atlantic. I'll be talking about this more on my Synoptic forecast here in just 5-6 minutes from now. And look at this here, south of the Cape Verde Islands, over towards Trinidad, Tobago, Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico. We're continuing to see the surge of tropical waves. These are just going to keep lining up. Now, one thing to note, July 20th, look it out here. Not only are we dealing with tremendous tropical moisture across the southeast U.S. and the Caribbean here, but look at these waves. They start to look a bit more ominous as they are forming just south of where this heavy dust is, just to their north. And some of these could try to spin up. They're looking pretty potent as we head towards July 22nd here. This high pressure does start to weaken, so it allows some of this moisture to head up the East Coast. But look at some of these waves. These are looking pretty healthy. So I think as we head towards the 3rd and 4th week of July, we're going to have to start watching some of these again for potential development here. And look at this. This is right around the 23rd. Some of these waves, I think, are actually starting to become a lot more healthier. And here into the Gulf, Caribbean, way out here into the intertropical convergence zone, as we just take the last few frames here, you can see what's going on. We're seeing tremendous development here of these tropical waves just lining up. So high pressure does start to solidify again and strengthen, and that should keep these waves moving towards the Caribbean and all this moisture from the Gulf to the U.S. East Coast. And don't forget, if you love this video, smash that like button, question or comment down below. I'd love to read your questions and comments. Keeps our weather community active. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe so you're alerted with all my future videos. Thanks, everyone. Now let's continue. So here's our GFS model here, starting off with Sunday afternoon, the 14th up here into the 15th. There's our timestamp up here. Now you can see GFS showing a very similar picture here with the intertropical convergence zone. You can see south of the Cape Verde Islands. That is where we're seeing these big tropical waves really progress. And then look at this towards the 16th here, Monday into Tuesday. So Tuesday afternoon, we start to get these waves coming into Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada, into Barbados here, and then these waves out here in the intertropical convergence zone remaining very robust, even with all this dust out here. You can see a really big one coming just off the coastline here as we head towards midweek, right around the 17th. So these waves are going to continue to cause problems. Even a wave up here just south of Bermuda, some of these waves making it pretty far to the north here. And look at all this moisture bottled up across the southeast with these stalled fronts. Any tropical wave that gets up into this region will begin to interact with the front and cause problems up here. You can see towards midweek, right around the 18th. Now look at out here. This is unusual, even for mid-July out here south of the Cape Verde Islands. So we'll have to watch these waves for potential development, even some moisture here bottled up across the Caribbean. Now watch this as we continue to go out here in time. Look at this surge of moisture here from the northern Gulf off the U.S. East Coast. We do have to watch these stalled fronts this time of year. We can get some spin-ups and some potential tropical systems. And the intertropical convergence zone remaining very robust late week, 19th into the 20th. You can see some of these waves still looking pretty healthy out here. And then, of course, we have a few weak waves, especially one here into Central America. There's that tropical moisture just bottled up here across parts of the southeast. And as we continue here into the following week, look what's happening. We start to see some of these could spin up here into the Western Caribbean. GFS kind of hinting at something here right around Nicaragua or Honduras. And then over towards the Cape Verde Islands, westward here, some of these do start to look very ominous as well as we head towards the 23rd. I think we're going to have to really start watching this area out here for some potential development. Now look at here. Across the Caribbean and Gulf, GFS going a little bit more optimistic with less tropical moisture than our European model, but there it is across Texas, that big surge of tropical moisture here from the Pacific, as we could be looking at some Pacific activity over here come the end of July. So thanks to Tropical Tidbits here for our mid-layer dry air analysis here as we look through. Here's the date, Monday, July 15th. We're going to cruise it through the week here, and you can see this gives us a great idea of where the dry air at mid-layers is, as well as the dust. Look at all this brown area. Yeah, we do have some tropical waves we're going to have to watch here. A big one coming off of Africa, Cape Verde, south of the Cape Verde Islands here towards July 18th. So definitely going to keep an eye on some of these. I'm watching it all here for you from the Caribbean islands to the Gulf and on the East Coast. But we're going to watch here the intertropical convergence zone remaining very robust. This is Thursday, July 18th. And as we continue through time, you do start to see some massive dust plumes really starting to come off of, Africa here. And that's going to continue to westward, but the atmosphere is juicy here in the Caribbean as we head through next weekend, July 21st. You can see intertropical convergence zone, some big waves out here, and look at the moisture surge into the southeast U.S. and Gulf Coast. So as we take a look at the European model here, starting off with Sunday, July 14th here, cruising on through, the European is really filling things in with dust here. Look at this. It's actually having some impact on the intertropical convergence zone with these tropical waves. And as we continue to cruise out in time, you can see, wow, yeah, the dust makes it all the way into the Caribbean. This is through Thursday, July 18th. You can see what's going on here. Massive dust making it pretty far westward here, but the intertropical convergence zone still looking very, very active for this time of year. So we'll have to keep a close watch because some of these could start to spin up come the third week of July here. You do see this big tropical moisture plume into the southeast that I've been talking about. That is going to continue out here in time. Surges up the U.S. East Coast, maybe later next weekend and early the following week. But look at out here, just south of the Cape Verde Islands. We do have some of these surges just south of all this Saharan dust that's being kicked up off the coast of Africa. Now, it does look like this dust tries to choke off some of these storms, but I do have to admit, these are pretty strong tropical waves for this time of year, so we really bear watching here. The dust does start to make it here into the Western Caribbean here towards Wednesday, July 24th. So as we take a look at the rest of July here for our CANSIPS model, look at that moisture plume even up into eastern North America here in a tropical convergence zone. Continuing into August, that is only going to increase. This model's been indicating massive surges of tropical moisture as we continue in August and September here. It just continues. And then into October, it kind of suppresses to the south here, but like I says, into November and December, we could still be looking at named storms here pretty far into the Caribbean and the MDR of the Atlantic. And if we take a look at the rest of this week on the CFS weekly model, you can see here across the Caribbean islands, intertropical converted zone, eastern North America, that's where our positive precipitation anomalies continue, especially the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida here, Gulf Coast, and out towards the southern Lesser Antilles here. So we're going to continue to watch it. That bounces north here towards the end of July, beginning of August. Look at this surge that just starts to move towards Florida here. Florida will basically be in the hurricane tropical storm highway here as we continue through mid-July here, right around July 18th. You can see what's happening. That pushes to the northeast towards the northeastern Caribbean islands. And as we head later into August here, the last week of August, look at this hurricane highway, so to speak. It's literally from the south of the Cape Verde Islands northwestward here towards the southeast coast and eastern Gulf of Mexico. Sea surface temperature anomalies are going crazy off the U.S. East Coast here. Look at this. This is with the heat wave, by the way. Eastern Gulf is warming back up. Coastal areas of the Western Gulf are warming back up. Most notably, though, here, where Beryl went through, things are warming back up pretty quickly here into the Caribbean and the MDR. Now, the dust is really doing its job out here around the Cape Verde Islands. You can see off the coast of Africa, much below average sea surface temperatures. I expect this to continue at least through another month, but after that, the dust does start to calm down a bit. So as we head throughout the Caribbean here, look at Central America, Nicaragua all the way up to Honduras and Belize as we head through July 24th here. This is where we're going to see the greatest risk of 100 to 125 millimeters of rain, especially here into the yellow, getting into the 3 to 4 inch range. Watch out here into Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico as well, 60 to as much as 100 millimeters, 2.5 to as much as 4 inches, and up here towards the Bahamas as well. And as we cruise over here to the Eastern Caribbean, as we head throughout this week, it looks dry to start off until midweek. We start to see these tropical waves kick in as we head all the way here through Wednesday, July 24th. You can see what's happening here. We're going to have that surge of tropical moisture. We're getting up towards 60 to 100 millimeters here, anywhere from 2.5 to as much as 4 inches of rain. Here are the Turks and Caicos here in the southeastern Bahamas. You're continuing to be the dry location. As we take a look at the rest of Sunday, especially Sunday evening, look at the severe weather outlook here. Not just the northern plains here, but we're also going to be looking at parts of the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and southern Great Lakes here for a slight risk of damaging wind, large hail, and isolated tornadoes. And as we continue into Monday, yes, we could see a slight risk here across parts of the western Great Lakes, Midwest area, and eventually the Ohio Valley into the northeast here with a marginal risk. And then as we head through Tuesday here, look what's happening. We have a marginal risk here into the darker green zones. So taking a look at our future radar, HRRR future radar, keep in mind this goes through July 14th in the evening here. You can see we're starting off here at 8 p.m. So that's the date you want to focus on here. Look at the showers and thunderstorms organizing just west of Chicago and down here through the central part of the Florida Peninsula. And look at that, some big storms here around South Carolina and North Carolina as well. As we head throughout the night, could we have a mesoscale convective system really starting to blossom here around Chicago? Right around midnight as we head on into Sunday evening here. Let's just progress along. You see that does weaken as it heads eastward towards Ohio, but it's kind of some reformation here around 6 a.m. on Monday morning, even some showers and thunder showers around the I-81 corridor. This storminess kind of tapers off across the southeast and then refires back up here into the eastern Gulf of Mexico as we head towards noon on Monday. Look at, though, here, eastern Ohio, showers and thunderstorms likely continuing. Look at this. We get towards 3 p.m. Buffalo area, Pittsburgh. We could be looking at some stronger thunderstorms here, pushing towards Binghamton, Syracuse, Utica areas, up towards Watertown, and even into southern Ontario and Quebec here. And look at this. We have another mesoscale convective complex here forming in these regions. So going to watch out for some stronger thunderstorms as we head throughout Monday. This is 7 p.m. on Monday, July 15th. And as you can see, we continue to cruise on through the time period here. You can see the storminess continuing across the southeast. We're going to continue to watch tropical moisture here build across the southeast. These mesoscale convective complexes will continue to head east. Here's another one up here into parts of New England, bringing some beneficial rains. And as we continue to progress this, you can see towards 1 a.m. on Tuesday morning, the 16th, look what really starts to blossom across the Ohio Valley. This is going to be bringing quite a bit in the way of rain and storminess as this kind of sinks a little bit to the south throughout Illinois and Indiana and southern Ohio. And I wanted to show you these photos here from the tornado outbreak in upstate New York the other day, especially the Finger Lakes region around July 10th. We were looking at a supercell thunderstorm outbreak on the east end of the remnants of Beryl. Tom Lasarso sending in his photos here from Cayuga Lake up on the Finger Lakes. So look at that shelf cloud in the background here. That's usually the area, and just behind it, shrouded oftentimes by rainfall of the funnel cloud or the associated tornado. And it's even kicking up the water here. He says he got slammed pretty hard by the storm, and you can see, look at how low that shelf cloud, low hanging clouds with associated funnel cloud, tornado, that sort of thing, just propagating across Cayuga Lake here, getting hit pretty hard. So nice captures here, Tom Lasarso from the Cayuga Lake, Finger Lakes region of New York. Yes, this was quite a busy day. Very rare to have this many supercell thunderstorms, but the remnants of Beryl kicked up these circulations. And as we continue to pick up where the HRRR future radar left off here, getting into essentially Sunday night here. This is right around 11 p.m. on July 14th. There's the date stamp up there. So as we continue to go in time, you can see that system here across the Ohio Valley into the northeast. We also have that tropical moisture here across the southeast. So these are the two areas we're going to be watching as we head throughout the week. You can watch and see all this precipitation move eastward here. This is Monday, July 6th, Tuesday, July 16th here at 8 p.m. So getting into Tuesday, you can see those showers and thunderstorms moving east here, and we start to get this frontal boundary towards Wednesday at 5 p.m. bogging down here. Look at all this tropical moisture coming up. This is going to be the common thing. We could have some stronger thunderstorms in the mid-Atlantic here, parts of the Ohio Valley. But look at that. As we head towards 8 a.m. on Thursday, July 18th. Look what starts to take hold here. European model indicating that we could have some sort of tropical moisture surge here across parts of the northeast as well. So this is a little bit of a change from what we've been seeing. Thursday morning, that kind of surges towards New England and off the coast by 2 a.m. on Friday morning. So we'll have to keep an eye on this trend. It might bring some moisture further back north, but definitely the southeast, Florida here, northern Bahamas really socked in with a lot of moisture. As we continue through the weekend, you're probably going to eke out a pretty nice weekend here into the Ohio Valley, northeast, and mid-Atlantic regions, at least the northern part from DC on northward. Midwest looks really nice. West continues to bake out here. But the common theme is the southeast is going to continue to get this surge here. Look at July 20th towards 8 p.m. here. We do start to see it eventually surge towards the mid-Atlantic again. So we're going to get these surges, especially the Carolinas, continuing to get that very heavy rain, higher humidities. And then as we get towards the 21st here, look at this. This is Sunday at 8 a.m. here. The European model's being very pessimistic here with the mid-Atlantic, bringing this moisture very far north into Pennsylvania, parts of New Jersey. I know some of you actually do need the rain. It's having a hard time getting into upstate New York, so you might eke out a perfect weekend. We'll see here. But that storminess continues through the mid-Atlantic. And then look at back here. We're actually including Texas here by July 23rd. Look at this. This is a big surge of tropical moisture. This is just going to continue as we get this tropical moisture surging out of the Gulf and the Atlantic moisture, and then teaming up with these stalled frontal boundaries. So as we take a look at our latest European run here for precipitation, this takes us through Thursday. Here's the dates you want to focus on. All the way through Thursday, July 18th. You can see what's going on here. The southeast Gulf Coast regions, yes, you're going to be picking up rain anywhere from, say, 3/4 to 1 1/4 inches. But here across the Ohio Valley into the northeast, that's where you're going to see those rainfall totals approach 1 to as much as 2+ inches. And if we want to go a little bit further out here onto the European models, we go through all the way through July 24th. Up here, you can see it. We are looking at a much wetter period here across the southeast. Look at this, all the way up through the mid-Atlantic. This is where we could see a solid 3 to as much as 7.5, close to 8 inches. So watch out. rainier times are ahead here. So as we look at Canadian weather here, not a whole lot to talk about, just a few systems as we head through early Monday morning here. We have a cold front trying to drag through. We might have some stronger thunderstorms and gusty showers moving through Quebec, and then a stronger system later Monday the 15th into Tuesday the 16th here. Look at this across western Quebec here. So dragging another cold front. We might have some stronger thunderstorms rotate through, but these are fast moving systems. Look what really builds in mid to late week. A very big area of high pressure. You're only going to deal with these storms up in the northern provinces here. So not looking too bad here across much of Canada. If you have vacation plans, it's actually looking really nice until we get to about the 21st. Look at this upper level low across Hudson Bay up here, dragging a cold front, and some of these storms could be strong across Ontario and Quebec. So watch out. That's making a push towards the southeast as we head towards the 22nd here and into the 23rd. Southern Quebec and Ontario could get some stronger thunderstorms. Before this low pulls off to the Canadian Maritimes, we actually start to get some moisture over here in British Columbia, which you desperately needed at this point. But look at high pressure building in to much of the 3/4 of Canada here. And here for Canadian precipitation, you can see it's actually going to be a lot drier up here. We're kind of getting into a dry section of summer here, mid to late summer. Midsummer to be more exact. And yeah, you can get some of these dry periods. This precipitation really bottles up here northern part of Canada with very lighter amounts here into southeast Canada and the central provinces. No more than 25 to 45 millimeters, getting into the half to 3/4 of an inch. So taking a look at the Pacific here, we'll take the Eastern Pacific just momentarily. There's a small area of potential interest out here. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Might flare up into a tropical depression or storm through the 18th here, but I'm not really concerned too much about that, a fish storm. And then as we head through the Western Pacific here, you can see there's not a whole lot to talk about as we continue to go out here in time. July 20th, things could start to go downhill a little bit here towards the Philippines with the intertropical convergence zone. You can see the monsoon continuing from Southeast Asia up to Japan here. But look at this. We do start to see some strong tropical waves here by the Philippines and then south of the Marshall Islands as we continue through July 21st here. And as we continue to go out here in time, you can see we might have a few spin-ups here. Things really start to look active here. Here's the northern Philippines. Here's Taiwan. Here's the coast of China, Vietnam. We might have a few of these circulations try to kick up. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so taking a look at your temperatures here, keep in mind, here is the date you want to keep an eye on. This is the time this was initialized. So right up here, this is Monday, July 15th. You can see the heat is on up here into the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, well up into the 90s. Look at the 100s here through the Carolinas, central states as well. And then as we continue to cruise on through the week here, look what is going on. You finally start to see some relief up here into the 70s, the northern plains. But look at out west, triple-digit heat all the way up to Washington. Mid-Atlantic continues to bake into the low 100s here. Texas as well. And as we continue throughout the week, here's Wednesday, July 17th. You can see, look at this cooler air. Hopefully we can get this to progress eastward because look at these nice 70-degree readings as we go towards Thursday. Look at this. This really starts to erode, 80s here, the Ohio Valley into the Northeast. Look at all these 70s, though. This is kind of what we want to get into. And look at this, Friday, July 19th. Look at this. Lots of 70s here across much of the lakes, the Midwest, and the Northeast. Still baking out west. Look at this. We're actually getting a little cooler down south here, lower 90s. So, backing off a bit from the highest temperatures into next Saturday. It's actually looking much better across the nation here, especially east of the Rocky Mountains. West continues to bake. Extended forecast for our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. Look at this. We go all the way through Monday through Friday here. We have chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There's about a 50 to 60% chance here, so there's going to be a storm system moving through. It finally moves out Wednesday night, but some of these storms could be strong, especially Monday and Wednesday, so watch out as this cold front comes through. Look at, though, relief is on the way for Thursday and Friday, down into the upper 70s. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.